we're ready. You kick it off.
What's the show called? Oh, yeah. Hello, and welcome to this week's edition of Hashtag Nailed It with me, Michael Lee.
And me, Tova Lee. Look, you're unrecognizable. You look like a caveman, and you've been indoors for 1 week, and look at you.
2 weeks.
Yeah, it's true.
I've done 2 weeks. What?
Just like what's happening to you?
I just haven't shaved. That's all.
Oh God! And you also Mike's basically given up on getting dressed.
Yeah.
So he gets up in the morning, he has a shower, he takes his pajama off, and just wears sweatpants.
Which I never normally wear. I'm always trousered, and I'm loving it.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm enjoying the fact
so
that I
funny.
don't need to put trousers on or even jeans.
Do you have enough sweatpants though? Like, are we going to see a variety? Is it just going to be one?
No, I've got one on, one off.
Oh my God.
One's just been washed. No, that's
help
it.
Us all. Oh
no, I've literally got two.
I haven't given up yet. Like, I'm still getting dressed every day.
Eventually.
I'm doing. Yeah, that's true. I'm doing a little bit of makeup, but not a lot. But I feel like it makes me feel better, to be honest.
Yeah.
Getting dressed and kind of like yeah. But I am switching back into pajamas around 4. I just want to point that out. Pajamas come back on around 4, 5 maximum. Yeah, which is quite a lovely moment.
This weekend I lost all concept of time.
Oh, yeah.
Where I was, why.
I know. But isn't it kind of like a little bit pathetic? Because really, we haven't really been in sort of like, how do you say, quarantine for that long. People are like behaving like they've been in quarantine for like the last 50 years. Like, you've literally, for a lot of people, it's less than a week. Do you know what I mean?
I know.
Or just 1 week, right?
This is what's so extraordinary. What are people going to be like when it's 1 month, 2 months, 3 months?
I know. So back up a little bit. Hi, everybody, and welcome to today's show. Last week we talked about coronavirus, and it was one of our most popular shows ever.
Big in China?
Yeah, it's massive in China.
Yeah. What a surprise.
Massive in Slovenia? Slovenia. We're massive in Slovenia right now. Yeah, we're like number 28.
Amazing.
I know. It's so thanks for everybody listening to us in Slovenia. So I feel like people want to talk about Corona.
Well, I mean, you can't really get away from it, can you?
I know.
I'm sure some people out there don't want to talk about it.
No, it's
some
true.
Some people must be sick of it already. Not literally, but still sick of it.
Yeah.
But I think from last week's show, from memory, the UK hadn't fully locked down, and you were moaning the fact that people out in the parks.
I don't feel like, but I don't think.
But that's what's changed in the last week.
Well, has it though? Because I don't feel like I don't think the UK are still on full lockdown.
Not full lockdown.
There's a lockdown to some extent, but it's not a full lockdown.
It's partial lockdown.
But the biggest news actually this week was how Boris Johnson has coronavirus.
Boris Johnson, Matt
does
Hancock,
Prince Charles.
Prince Charles has just come out now. He's fine.
Is he okay?
He's done his 7 days.
Oh, good.
Self-isolation.
Is that all you need to do? 7 days? I thought it was 2 weeks.
No, 7 days, I think.
Oh.
If you've got symptoms.
Oh, right.
Some
Yeah. Okay.
7 days self-isolation.
Right. Well, okay.
As long as the symptoms go, obviously.
Uh-huh.
So, but going back to the thing, I mean, it's partial lockdown. For those of you that aren't in the UK, that basically means you can still go to the chemist, the supermarket, in and out, basically. You can still exercise by walking around the block, walking the dog.
So here is the grey area. Wait. But that is the grey area. Have you noticed how people who have never worked out a day in their life are suddenly becoming athletes?
Yeah.
Do you find that interesting?
Right. Yeah, I think people that have worked out all their lives are now doing nothing.
Yeah, it's true. Thank you.
Are now doing something.
It's actually quite extraordinary how one of the things that you can see most of online now are all these online workouts.
Yes.
Right? And then everybody's like suddenly digging out the bicycle from the garden shed.
Mm-hmm.
It's full of how do you say rust.
Yeah.
It's like I haven't been ridden in 17 years, but everybody's suddenly into cycling. Everybody's into hiking at the moment. Everybody's into jogging and power walking.
To get the hell out of the bloody house.
But I find that extraordinary.
It's just to get out of the house, surely.
Yeah, but this is the time to not get out of the house. I just don't understand it. It's like a child when you tell a child you can't do something, and suddenly all the child wants to do is do something. It's like honestly parenting. Do you know what I mean? It's hilarious. I feel it's really, really hilarious. I had a real go at people actually because I'm doing this thing called Tova News,
it's very funny,
which is so hilarious. You guys should really listen to it if you haven't. And I called people selfish cunts the other day because
Excuse
they,
the language for any children
because
watching.
not only children should not be
bleep
listening.
that out.
We won't bleep it out,
We won't bleep it out.
people, because not only are people now hiking and sort of like enjoying nature, you know, because this is the time to go out and enjoy nature. I mean, you know, why wouldn't you during a world pandemic, you know? This is the perfect time to do that. So not only are they doing that, they're also posting about it on Instagram, which I personally find really bad taste, to be honest.
Right, why do you suppose it's bad taste?
Because I think, A, there's a lot of people in the world who don't have a nature resort at the back of their backyard.
Well, especially living in a big city.
Yeah, and can't do that. So even if they want to go out in a safe manner to a place that really is isolated, they couldn't. So it's a bit like rubbing it in their faces. And these people are posting it like they're on a lovely extended holiday in the countryside. And it's like, excuse me, I understand the need to have some sort of sense of normality in these times that are completely not normal, but you have to be a bit tasteful about it. Like, do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, what's happening in the world right now is not normal. So let's not bury our heads in the sand. Let's try make the best out of it, but also let's not be so selfish and so, how do you say, blind to the fact that there are people dying and there are people suffering and there are people locked in their houses for way longer than 1 fucking week and in small apartments where it's hot and where they don't have outdoors, and you walking along the ocean, it's just disgusting, with all due respect. And especially big pages that have a large following, because I do think they have a responsibility. That's one aspect. But the second aspect is, I think I said this last week, we got to set an example, and it's a slippery slope. One person goes out to a place that's completely isolated. Somebody else sees that and goes, oh, well, they've gone out, so maybe I can go out to the park. There's just a few people there, and they go out to the park, and then somebody else, and they post about it, and then somebody sees, oh, well, they've gone out into the park, and there's a few people there, so I've got a park that's not so big, and there's a bit more people there, but, you know, surely that's okay. And I do think it's a slippery slope.
But aren't the police
Whereas
stopping
if
that, though?
everybody just say, do you know what? It fucking sucks, but let's just sit the fuck at home, you know? And again, if you have to go out for your absolute mental health, if you don't, you're going to kill somebody, then go out, but just don't fucking rave about it on social media. Let's do it. Like, do it discreetly, safely, and discreetly, and just get on with it. I am appalled by it, and I've called people out. They now don't like me, but they never liked me, so now they really don't.
But going back to the sort of our nip out and all that, I mean, again, I can only talk about this country, although we're watching the news once a day in the evening, and obviously we get an update on certainly a lot of European countries and certainly the States and a bit of Australia. But obviously in the UK there are now police patrolling. We had 2 horseback policemen down our road last week just checking. So it's just to ask people where you go, the shops, or why you're with him. Just the sort of thing that what you're doing, go out. And again, the thing they can't clamp down is you're allowed to do 1 bit of exercising a day.
That will go, though, you know that, right?
You know.
But that will go, because again, I think that one of the things I'm suggesting to people is don't just listen to the news from your own country. Again, this is the only time probably in the history of mankind where actually, because we're very used to looking at our own bubble, right? It's your country, your problems. You only look at what's at your doorstep. But this is the first time probably in humankind history whereby actually your neighbor's problems, i.e. other countries, other parts of the world, are totally your problems. And in fact, many of these places will predict your future. So look at other countries and look what's happening there, because a lot of these European countries are basically a few weeks ahead of us. And what's coming is that those little liberties that we have will be taken away probably in the next week or so, right? And people won't be able to go out and to do their 1 exercise a day, you know, which I honestly think is such a big joke. I mean, I understand the logic why.
And you live in a high-rise
I know, it's a problem. I get it. But the thing is, when people say that to me, I'm not trying to be the bad guy here. It's not that I'm not sympathetic. We're all in the same thing. I'm struggling as well. You think I enjoy being at home all day? I don't. But I have to compare myself to other people in the world who have it worse than me. And I'm sorry that maybe doesn't give strength to everybody, but I do believe that this challenge is a challenge that we can all cope with. As hard as it is, as awful as it is, I think we have the ability and the strength to actually pull through it, you know, and buckle up and say, this is what I have to do. And it's a big sacrifice and it's a big struggle, but you know what? I can do it. I can do it. I actually think that in history, it's funny, we watched that movie the other day. What was it? The Things of Narnia. What was it called? The Chronicles of Narnia. I'm sorry, this may make me sound like really not educated and a bit of an ignorant, but I didn't know that during the Blitz, I didn't know that the British people had to send their children to, a lot did to the countryside to live to avoid the bombings in London. I didn't know that.
If you lived in central London, especially the East End, that a lot of people did, that was getting bombed. Yes, so there was volunteers who lived out in Wales and other places that weren't being bombed. Will look after your kids.
So again, that example and many other examples in history, right, where people didn't have money and people didn't have food. And that example I sat there thinking, fuck, if I needed to now send my children away for a year in order to save them, I mean, I obviously would do it, right? But I'm like, I feel like so fortunate that I get to just sit in the house for God knows how long with my family, with my children next to me. I'm sorry, there have been worse things in history. Do you know what I mean? And I think, and I don't know what it is, perhaps this generation, and I'm talking about the West mainly, right? We have been in a way a little bit spoiled. We're very pampered, like people are used to all their comforts, and we haven't had war. And I'm not saying we should have had, it's great. I mean, I come from Israel and I did experience war once in my life. And I compare it to that time of my life. Also, when I think about the kids, a lot of people are worried, is this going to be very traumatic? I remember the Gulf War. I remember sitting in a sealed room with a gas mask on my face. I remember it as a great experience. It was lots of fun. We had 3 weeks off school, we had to run in the middle of the night. Children to cope with these things slightly different, but I think it also depends a lot on the parents and how you present it to them. My point is, I do believe that we have the strength to get through it, and I do believe that we will get through it, but I think people just need to kind of buckle up a bit. Do you know what I mean? And also be more sensitive towards other people in worse situations than them. And there are a lot of people out there who are in a worse situation than we are. And when people talk to me about not leaving the house, can I just point out that there are women in parts of the world who are not allowed to leave the house always. Always, just as a norm. I just want to point that out to everybody, okay? So that's kind of like where I'm coming from. Do you think that's like too harsh, or can you get
No, but I think, look, this is very early days of this, and everyone now realizes this is going to be at least another probably 12 weeks. Today, the UK medical officer was saying this could be six months. Things might be eased, but effectively these things will be lined for 6 months. And the thing that is probably too soon to hit, although technically a lot of people get paid end of the month, what's going to start hitting people is financially.
Yeah.
Normally beginning of the month, bills start coming out of your bank account. Do you have the money in there to pay the bills? What money's coming in? I know the government in this country done this package, but that won't kick in probably until, I know for self-employed people, not till June.
Yeah.
That's going to be the problem when you suddenly start realising we got no food in and I don't have the money to get food in and all these things.
Yeah.
And everyone else been in the same boat.
Yeah.
Yeah. And already there's wonderful people doing food deliveries to health workers on the front line.
I think
who don't
in
have
that
the time
sense,
to go and get food or whatever.
So I think
all
in that sense
to
be like also a bit more practical, and I think that's really important now to be practical. We said this last week, but I'm going to say it again because people were kind of like pointing out the difficulties of this idea. Yes, like everything, there are difficulties with everything, but there's also like solutions. So don't like think of it as a difficult thing. Just think about it as a challenge and try and find solutions. So for example, the whole idea of coming together and helping each other and like building some sort of community, I think is the key to getting through this period of time. Okay, it really is the key. And we have created a sense of community within our neighborhood through this WhatsApp group that we made. Practically how that worked was somebody went from door to door and just put a piece of paper and asked people if they wanted to join this WhatsApp group, and everybody was joined into the group. Now, how does this help? It helps, because you've got support within your neighborhood. It helps because there are elderly people living on the street who are not allowed to leave the house at any, cost, and they have somebody that lives next to them that can make sure that they're okay and can make sure that they get what they need. Also, in terms of shopping, it's been a struggle struggled to get slots from supermarkets. Some people have succeeded on the road, and other people have been able to add lists as things to their list. So people said, oh, but it's only limited to 80 items. I know, but 80 items is still a lot, and we've still been able to help each other within the limitations. Okay, so don't poo-poo it before you try. And the other thing is, some people do have to go out to the shop to buy groceries, because that is one of the things that you're allowed still to do. But wouldn't it make more sense that on a road, on a street, instead of 7, 10, 11, 12, 15 houses, different people are going in and out to buy something from the shop, one person does a shop and delivers it to other people's houses, and you rotate it.
Yeah.
It means less people are leaving the house, and in every neighborhood, in an area, it helps everybody. It helps each other. It helps the system. And you know what? It really does give you a great feeling of community, that you're not in it alone.
We talked about when this thing's over. I mean, I've lived on this road for 20 years.
Yeah.
I know what, 2-3 people in this area. Everyone talks about when this thing's finally finished, we'll do a party, a street party, because put a name to the face.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. By the way, another thing that happened here in the UK, and I know some other countries did it as well. I don't know. I know Canada was doing something similar, but was the whole idea of like clapping for the NHS, the people that are at the front line. And I just want to point out, so we did this whole thing where, people went out on a certain day and a certain time and were clapping for the NHS. I found that really moving. The thing that moved me more was actually, like you said, seeing the neighbors come out and realizing that everybody's in the same boat, was like quite a big thing. But I also want to mention, there's so many other people at the moment that really need to be thanked. Do you know what I mean? Like the NHS, of course, and everybody that's, in healthcare. But honestly, from delivery drivers to
taxi drivers,
to the people who pick up our garbage once a week, and still we are able to like take our stuff out. Like so many people, anybody that's still out there like
having to work
and like so that we can keep on going deserves the biggest thank you ever. And the thing that got me, I'm getting I know that maybe people are a little bit disappointed, but to be honest, I don't care, because I don't see how anybody who has a big platform can should not be vocal about things that are important, so with the combination of like comedy and funny videos that I do, I'm sort of like speaking out more, because I'm very disappointed by politicians, and I'm very disappointed by the whole politics of behind everything. One of them being like money that's being given or not given to healthcare. It's very great to say now, when doctors and nurses are dying, right? Oh, the NHS and we respect our doctor. But these people get abused on a daily basis, right? B, not paid enough, right? And all these politicians were, getting such big salaries and all the whatever, where is it coming from? Do you get what I'm saying? Like money that could have gone into healthcare. And I just hope that when all of this is over, like people will remember that. Do you know what I mean?
Well, this is the big thing, isn't it? Obviously, apart from the dangers and the health, is will people and will society change when this finishes?
That's a really good question.
Sadly, knowing people, thinking I know a little bit about human nature, I sadly think people just go back to the way it was, as opposed to taking the positives of, look, we've got some great community spirit now. Let's keep this WhatsApp group. Let's keep these things going. Yeah. Will that happen or not?
I actually think, like, apart from the community spirit, which I actually think that may stick around, actually. I have a feeling that that's something that potentially, again, if we have to do this for a long time, I really do hope that more people get on board the idea of building these communities around them. And I do think that if they do, that will stick around. The thing that I'm not so sure is, like, I have found myself doing things now that I'm like, I can't believe I never really took the time to think about that or do.
Washing fruit with soap?
No, but you laugh about it. I'm sorry. It's quite disturbing to find out how many people discovered washing hands through COVID-19. Like, it's really...
Did they?
But they did.
Well,
people are a bit like, what?
Never washed hands.
Wait, you're supposed to wash the outside bit again? And the thumb doesn't get washed properly if you don't actually wash it? Like, these people, like, it was like this revelation, that you don't just, like, do this under the water. That's, yes. Okay. But also, like, other things, even travel, I have this theory, you know this, right? It's a big theory of mine, and it all really goes down and boils down into needs. I think like we live in a world that people are so miserable most of the time because a lot of their basic needs are not fulfilled, and the way that we cover up that is by more, 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 more. We're a society of like over consuming of everything, whether it's food and we overeat, to travel. Oh, let's do 5 holidays a year and not even explore what we have at our doorstep. No, let's fly to the other side of the world. Why? Just because, you know, and, you know, to the shit we buy on eBay, on Amazon, like, you know, we consume. And I believe that this overconsumption comes from a place that we're trying to shut up the pain that we're feeling inside. Whereas, because like, you know, I don't know, we're lonely, we're sad, we're unsatisfied, there are needs that are not met, whatever that is. And I feel like this is probably the main struggle people are having at the moment, is that they can't do that. You suddenly can't go out and shop. You can't, not everybody's got a lot of food at home, although some people do, and that's what they're doing all day is like eating, you know. But you can't do those things, and you actually have to sort of sit there and go, oh, okay. And I think we all do it. I do it. Like I do it with cleaning. I'm just obsessively cleaning at the moment. You know, it's like to run away from your scariest, most uncomfortable emotions. It's like we do that. But I'm wondering and I'm hoping maybe that's something that could change. Maybe if people come out of it and go, actually, I could live with just a 1 holiday a year, and instead of that, maybe do something else. You know, that's. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I could do with not having to overconsume, blah, blah, blah. And it does link in, by the way, to the environment as well, you know. But I think like the argument of the environment was never enough to convince people that that's probably not what they should be doing.
But now people are seeing the changes. Even in these early days, people are seeing certain stretches of water cleaner, the air, hearing the birds more because there's no planes.
I don't think people will give a shit about that, to be honest. No, I don't. I really don't. Well, I think people don't give a shit about that. Yeah, I don't think that's my point, is that I don't think that sadly will change at all. Like I just don't, you know. But I have found, you know, food wastage, for example, is one of the main things, right? It's disgusting and it's awful, and everybody knows that there's such a massive amount of food that is wasted every single day and every single year in the world. It's horrible. And especially when you link that into how many people don't have any food in the world, right? That's one thing that I notice in this time, how we're not wasting any food. And I've always hated wasting food. You know that. Like I hate it. I don't like it. But I have found that what I'm doing differently now, I'm preparing less food. So what would have happened was I would have made food, and then there'd be always stuff left, and I put it in the fridge in an idea of like, I don't want to waste this, we're going to eat it again. But then somehow it doesn't get eaten, nobody touches it, and eventually it finds its way in the bin. Yeah. So what I've started doing now is just preparing less. And I know it sounds like so stupid, but can you imagine if everybody did that? If everybody in the world did that, just that tiny thing, like, do you know what I mean? So little things like that, I'm hoping, you know, it's like, you know, would maybe lead to a bigger change. I don't know.
Again, we're self-isolating. We're not people that are going out to supermarkets. We're relying on deliveries, on this
Our
group
neighbours,
to help us. We don't have any toilet paper to run out. So I think we're also appreciating food more.
Yeah.
You got a delivery of that food.
Yeah, oh my God, no, but with the toilet paper, the way you jumped, it was like you won the lottery. It was hilarious.
I was about to go down to the kitchen roll. I was delighted when that toilet roll came in. Yeah. I was so happy.
Yeah, it was like, toilet paper, yes, yes. And I was like, but you remember what I said to you? I said, you have to pause right now and remember this moment. Yeah. Remember this moment forever. How toilet paper gave you the biggest joy. Is honestly appreciate this moment, you know, because I think we do. We take such wonderful things that happen to us in our lives like so much for granted, and I do think that this time has made you go, wow, I really appreciate, you know, I don't know, I wonder if when we are allowed to go out and you go out to your favorite coffee shop, you know, in a few months time and have a coffee, you know, with a friend outdoors, like, will you sit there and go, wow,
Well,
like I hope
sure.
so. Like, I hope.
I'm dreaming
you know,
of it already.
I hope so. I hope
Absolutely.
people will really kind of learn to appreciate those small things in life, not take it for granted so
but
much.
Also,
like, I don't know.
But also, would it change people at the moment? People going into a supermarket, I need this, I need toilet paper, I need beans, I need pasta, I need washing up liquid, I need out. The sort of thoughts of just browsing in shops. I'm just going to wander a shop and just pick up things and look at them. Maybe something like that might go. Because people are just used to going there for specific
See, that to me
needs.
doesn't do it. Like, I'm sorry, but for me, like, just browsing in a shop doesn't... it's
Loads
not something I'm looking
but loads
forward
of people
to.
love window shopping and browsing. People spend a Saturday going into the centre of their town just to browse and look at shops.
The other thing that, you know, it's funny to me. Like, I've seen a lot of people set themselves like high goals, like for this time, whether it's learning a new skill or like a new language or, you know, becoming super fit and stuff like that. Again, I feel like if that helps people get through it, then that's awesome. I don't know, we said we would maybe like do something in the garden with the kids, like some sort. We haven't thought of what. Like some sort of
project,
long-term
project.
A long-term, if anybody actually has an idea for a fun long-term project we could do with the kids, that could be nice. Because again, thinking about it being like a long-term thing, it's nice to start something and see it like happen and
maybe
evolve.
Growing something on a trellis so people see, I don't know.
I don't know, something. No, but something you could do a bit more of every single day, you know?
Don't just leave it.
So if anybody has some cool ideas for that, that would be awesome. And any kind of tips, actually, of getting through this time. Because I feel like, again, everybody's sort of really in the same boat, like thinking of how to cope and how to manage.
Alcohol.
But you see, I don't feel like that's I haven't actually been drinking that much. No? I had some gin yesterday, but I'm not drinking that much. I'm like at that theory of like, I just want to be strong physically and mentally. And that doesn't mean that I'm working out every day, because I'm not. No. But I'm eating healthy. I'm drinking a lot of wine. I'm not actually drinking a lot of alcohol at all. I'm taking my vitamins, and I'm just trying to keep like my immune system strong, and that's it, you know. But if you guys want to drink wine, then by all means do.
Before we go, can you just let people know about the live show?
Oh, yes. So another thing that's happening, in case people don't know, is that I decided to do a virtual live show. So as you know, the plan was, after I got back from the States, was to do more dates in the UK, and then in the summer do places in Europe. But between you and me, I don't think that's going to happen, like even in the summer. I think that even when the quarantine is over, like you said, there's still going to be quite a lot of restrictions. So because I know everybody's at home and everybody's looking for entertainment, I thought it would be a really good idea to just do a virtual show straight from my living room into people's...
And it's going to be your live show that you've been touring?
It is. Well, it's going to be a version of it. So,
a British version.
Yes. So, because obviously it doesn't work exactly in the way that it was when you do it online. And also,
I
feel like...
no laughs.
And and also I feel like I know, that's going to be weird. I mean, like,
hey, nothing.
Nothing.
Awful.
I know, it's awful. We might have to use some sound effects.
Just me laughing.
Yes, can you do that? So anyway, it's happening on the 4th of April, which is this Saturday night at 8:30 p.m. UK time.
Is this Saturday?
Yes, which is 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. And tickets are on sale already. They're super cheap, by the way. They're only £5 each.
Which is like $6.
Yeah, and anybody who buys a ticket can invite a friend who's over the age of 65 for free to basically watch the show for free, because the idea was that, you know, the over 65s are really who's considered most vulnerable, even though anybody can get coronavirus, but they're most vulnerable, and a lot of them are stuck at home, and a lot of them are stuck at home alone. And I just thought it would be a nice thing to include people, to let them know we're thinking about them and they're not alone, and just to give them some entertainment. So if you want to buy a ticket, it's on tovali.com/tour. And you need to buy them quick, because we need to manually add people. It's quite a lot of work. So don't wait too long. Point? There will be. It's probably going to be kind of like Friday. So so don't wait, basically.
You can't push it like Saturday.
No, because Saturday's the day of the show.
But
it's a lot of work to add people. Anyway, and Mike's going to be part of the show. He doesn't know it yet, but he will be a big part of the show.
I'll just do a quick. I'll just do a short 45 minutes. I'll do some poetry.
I know it's going to happen. You're just going to take over, aren't you?
Nothing you do. It's live. Nothing you do about it.
Oh my God! God.
We'll be waiting to come on.
Okay,
And
I
here's
might
another
reconsider.
Poem. Here's another poem.
Oh God, I might reconsider.
It was an old man from Nantucket. We'll leave it there.
Anyway, tell us where you have listened in from today, and if you have any tips, what's going on in your part of the world, and wherever you are, we wish you to stay safe and healthy and stay the fuck at home.
Yeah, and we'll be back here next week, hopefully. Well, we're not going anywhere, so we will be here next week.
Yeah, here
Take care, everyone.
Bye, you guys.
Bye.